The next tree I'll be repotting is my Crimson Hawthorn. It is also entering year 2 under my ownership. It is time to get the tree out of the pot and see what the root system is like on this one. So this tree grew very well over the summer also. There it is. So again, a fairly good mat of roots on the bottom. Not a lot of roots in the middle of the soil here, but we'll rake it out and see what the root system's looking like. Hopefully, something good is happening. So that Korean maple, I think it's going to be a real gem of a tree. I've got that root base sorted out. It should grow very well this year. It'll be exciting to see how it looks in the future. They have nice small leaves, just like the Japanese maples. Just a little different shape. Beautiful fall colors. They're wonderful trees. Yeah, I can see, a good radial root base forming on this tree. I do need to get that drainage screen off the bottom. It's got quite a mat of roots attached to it. The other thing about these drainage screens is that they're not that strong. So if you do have big thick roots growing through them, you can tear or cut the drainage screen away easily. And it doesn't, it's not locked in with your roots. Yeah, there's quite a mat of roots down here. Like I'm having difficulty combing this, it's so dense. Which is a good thing. So the weather has turned colder today. It was below freezing this morning, and I think the high is, not a whole lot above the freezing point. It's not as ridiculous as it has been the last 2 days with warm weather. So it's kind of good to see winter is returning once again. I'm sure we'll get some really cold spells coming up. So I'll have to watch these newly repotted trees, keep them warm. And I can always place them near the heater at nighttime if I think the greenhouse is going to freeze over, if we get some really cold days down to minus 20 Celsius or 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, if we get weather like that, I'll place the newly repotted trees near the heater to keep them warm overnight. So Julian is working away on the Fiat Abarth, waxing it, cleaning it, making it look really, really good. And it does look really, really good. That looks amazing, Julian. Mary Saul from Frostbite Bonsai said it looks like the Canadian flag here with the white in the middle and the 2 red cars each side of it. That's pretty funny. Warming it up. Oh, there it is. Wow, does that sound good. Alright, so I think I've got all the soil removed from the roots, and there are a lot of roots that have grown in last summer. So I'll clean up and we'll come back and do the root pruning. Okay, here is a look at the root system. So I do have lots of radial roots, but I have a lot of roots that have grown down into the soil. And they're quite thick. I'm just looking where I cut the root base last year. I think it was somewhere about here. So a lot of this root is going to come off. And I'm going to start with my thickest roots here. So you can see this root here comes down. I had pruned it here before, and I've got this root kind of growing off, not quite 90 degrees, but getting close to that direction. So I definitely want to remove that. It's getting too thick, so off it comes. Like that. I do have some roots coming from that cut point that are quite nice. And then the next big one, I can see this one here. It's growing down from up here, it also has to be removed. So off it comes, like that. I have on this side, I have some calluses here where I cut a big root, and then there's been some new thick ones. Oh, there's a root. Take that out. A big thick one that's grown down, so I need to prune that off shorter. Like that. Moving that. There's another one here I can prune back, and I may have to prune these further. We'll see as I expose the root base. This one can be pruned off shorter. And then I've got quite a few roots going straight down here that need to be pruned off. So here I go. Big cut coming up there. So you can see I'm getting back towards a more flat radial root system. Now, just going to do a little combing here. Sort these roots out and decide. So there's quite an ugly burl here. Not sure what's going on there. I hope it's not some kind of disease or something. It kind of looks like it. Got healthy roots below. But it could be callus tissue where I took a big root off. I'm not really sure. Anyway, there's not much I can do about it. Other than, you know, if I totally removed it. But I don't think that's the solution, because I'd be taking quite a bit off. But maybe I could. It would remove all this kind of lump of roots here. However, I don't know if I can take it off. It is a bit odd looking. Well, let's try. Let's try removing that part of the root system. Taking off a lot here, like that. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the future what's going on there. So there is kind of, I've gotten it certainly flatter. I'll comb the roots out. So you can see they're not too bad looking. And I'll do a profile trim. Like that. I think that's pretty good. And the tree is ready for repotting. I don't think I need to do much surface root sorting here. I think I'll just keep what I have after that big removal on the bottom. And people often ask me about cut paste, and I don't think in this case it would hurt to put a little rubber cement on the bottom, so I'll do that. Just to seal that big wound up. I don't know if it's necessary, but I'm going to do it, and we'll see what the result is next time I repot this. I don't think it'll hurt. Like that. So let that dry a bit. Then we'll come back and plant the tree. So this pot, you can see, again, it's a little small for the diameter of the root base. So I need, again, a little larger pot. So I'll go see what pot I can find. I don't think it'll be as fancy as the other pot I picked. It'll probably be a regular kind of clay nursery pot. But we'll see. I picked out a pot for the tree. It's just a plastic, bonsai training pot. I think it's maybe a little big, but this tree did grow a lot of roots last year, so it'll give those roots lots of room to grow. So let's get the tree potted up now. I'll get some drainage screens in the pot, fill it with a base layer of soil, and get the tree planted. All right, I've got my soil in the pot, my drainage screens. So I'll position the tree. Because this pot has a front and back, I'm just going to look at the tree. It kind of leans forward a bit this way, so that would make a logical front. The root base isn't spectacular at this view. It's maybe a little better at some of the other views, but it's early in this tree's development. So I'll plant it like this. Make sure my roots are combed out. That's looking good. I'll add some soil now. Now I've got to make sure the tree is at a good height in the pot. Come down just a little bit. Now that's pretty good there. And I'm just planting it kind of in the middle for now because, it's in its early training stages and aesthetics isn't so important as developing that root system, which is the number one priority at the moment with this tree, is to get a nice radial root system established with lots of fine feeder roots and sorting them out so they aesthetically look good. So I just need a little more soil. So I'll add some soil over this side. I don't want it too full. Otherwise, when you water the tree, it runs off the edge of the pot. So you want the soil just below the lip of the pot. Makes watering easier. So I think that's pretty good. Just make sure the soil is in around the roots. That's pretty good. This tree fills nice and firm in the pot. Okay, it's ready for its first watering. All right, here I go with the water. It's running out the drainage holes now. There we go. The tree is planted. So I'll get some stones to put on the surface of the soil. I've got 3 flat rocks that I can place around the tree. So here I go. One there. One over here. And maybe one here. Like that. So that holds the tree in really firmly. So that is the beginning of the repotting season here in the glass greenhouse. It's a very early spring in here, so I'll be doing lots of repotting in the future. I think the next trees I'll be repotting are those 2 larch trees. I've got a trident maple to do after that, so lots of repotting coming up. But that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.